Okay, someone asked me the other day how I colored the eye picture that we posted. So I thought I'd do a quick tutorial video just to show how the different ways that I color eyes. So I'm in Photoshop. So I'm actually in CC Creative Cloud 2015. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and you'll see one that looks like a file folder. And that's to start a group. And I'm going to start this group. And I want this group to be on soft light. So where it says pass through, I'm going to go to put soft light. And then I'm going to create a layer. And that just keeps me from having to go over here and push soft light every time. I've adjusted my brush to a reasonable size. This one's actually 41 since the picture's a little bigger, a little clearer. And if you look here, you can actually see where there are light spots in this eye. And we want to try to retain that as much as possible. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start coloring where these dark spots are. So I want that to be my darker shade. And I have a hard time seeing a pupil there because it's a glare, so I'm kind of guessing there. Okay. Once I've got that colored where I want it, I'm going to go and push Control U. And I'm going to start adjusting the color to about the color that I want. And I kind of like that shade there. It's actually a little dark, but I'm going to change the opacity to actually make these layers blend a little better. So I'm going to leave it up a little bit. So I'm going to push OK, and I'm going to create a new layer. Okay, and then I'm going to start coloring in most of the rest of it now. And I'm even going to want it to overlap just a tad, not all the way, but I do want it to overlap a little bit. So I'm going to start overlapping just mainly around the edges. Alright, and once I get that colored, I'll go ahead and push Control U, and I'll start looking for my green. And that's a good color green right there. So I like it. And I'm going to start trying to blend these layers. Since that brown is so dark, I don't want it dark. So I'm going to go to where it says opacity up here, and I'm going to start pulling that down to make that kind of, to blend in a little bit better. And I see some places where it didn't show through that I wanted it to. Depends really on your colors whether it's going to show through and how dark. It's going to be. So I'm going to go this green. I'm going to actually pull that down a little too. Alright, and then I'm going to create a new layer. And I want this edge a darker shade of this green. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start coloring. Get back on my brush here. I'm going to start coloring it. And when I get done, I'm going to push Control U. I'll go down to my greens. And I'm going to start trying to blend those. I'm going to change the opacity down just a hair, not a lot. Still a little too dark. Okay. Then I'm going to create another layer. And now I can see these light spots really well now that I've got that color on it. You can see where they should be. For some reason that one's not soft light, I can tell. Okay, so I'm Start coloring these in. Alright, and when I get it to where I don't want to overdo it, and it's real easy to overdo these, so just want to get those highlights. And that'll be a good one, I think. So push Control and U. I really probably should have done this video right after I color it because it's hard. It's going to be hard to get it exactly the same. I'm going to go to that light green. You could even do a yellow and make it look good. You just have to take that saturation down. See, if I take it all the way up, it's really bright yellow. But the key to the eyes is really about blending these colors to make them really have those different shades without overpowering each other. I still don't like that brown. I really don't. So I'm going to go back and push Control U on that brown layer, and I'm actually going to adjust that some. And I'm going to fade it up and turn that saturation down a little. Because it's just a little bit too overpowering. So I'm going to pull it down some. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the next part, and that's going to be your pink layer, or your waterline. It's going to be your pink layer here. So I'm going to go ahead and color this. Make my brush a little bit bigger, but go back since we're doing a little bit bigger area. Get that colored. You can actually see a little bit of this underside right through here under the lashes, so I'm going to go ahead and get that as well. And even a little edge there, not a whole lot. I'll clean that edge some up. Maybe like that. I can actually see a little more here. There, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that up. Alright, and we're going to push Control U, and we're going to adjust this. Now I take it down a little more into the reddish pinks, and then I'm going to start pulling that saturation out, and maybe even go down a little bit. I don't want this real dark. It should just be really a little bit pinker than your skin tone. And that looks good to me. So, the next thing I'm going to do is, this is something I recently started doing, and I like the effect, so I've really started doing this quite a bit. I'm going to go in and paint. You see how that little lip there? That's going to be a little more red. We got blood vessels and stuff through there. And I'm just going to kind of give this a little backwards V shape there into those creases of the eye. Okay. And then when I get done, I'm going to push Control U. I'm going to take this into my reds. Because that part of your eye is kind of red. We don't want it that red. So if we take the darkness down a little bit and then start taking some of the saturation out. What about like that? And I really put a little bit too much in there. I'm going to start. I need to take that down. So edit, step back, and turn my flow down. Turn this opacity down so that it blends a little better and doesn't look like a straight line. I'm actually going to pull this down some too. Not entirely, but we just want kind of a shadow there. Okay. Another way to do that would have just been to turn the opacity down a little bit. But I don't want that kind of red. She looks like she's got a little bit of bloodshot eyes. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the, take it and make a new layer. I'm going to take my brush down really, really small. And I'm going to just start, usually helps if that's my brush. I'm just going to start going over these little red lines here, or what will be red lines. You don't have to worry about getting them all, but the predominant ones you definitely want to get. It would be almost impossible to get them all because it looks like there's quite a bit on this one. Alright, and then when I get done with that and I'm happy with getting the majority of those, I push Control and U. I'm going to go back to my reds again. And then I'm going to start taking it down in the lightness. I want it a little bit darker, and then I'm going to take the saturation out as well. Take the opacity out a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to make another layer. I'm going to make my brush a lot bigger on this one, because I'm going to be doing skin tone. I'm just going to go, we don't have a lot of skin on here, but what we do, I'm going to go ahead and paint it. So it will be a completed photo. Make sure you get all the way up to those eyelashes, because your skin, you know, those are attached right there. So your skin goes all the way up. You don't want a big gray line there. Control U. And I'm going to start looking for a skin tone. It's usually going to be somewhere in between the red and the yellow, somewhere in the oranges. You can even do a brown. I'm going to take the saturation out. Maybe even take the lightness down a little bit. And that right there is how I do my eyes. You could even do another layer. Color over this a little bit. Control U. And there's different ways to affect how this is going to look. And I didn't like the way that turned out, so we're not going to do that. So don't do that. But that's a good looking eye right there. The best way is to play with it, see what works for you. Get a good picture, a good color picture of an eye, even if it means taking a picture of your own eye. Turn it to black and white, and then reference that color picture to color an eye, and see what you can get, the different combinations or variations that's in your particular eye. And that's going to help you, because you'll start seeing those variations and tones when you're looking at eyes, especially this big, which you probably never will to color a picture. But it's always good to know what goes into making those eyes look the way they do, and why some people have a better shade of yellow or green or blue in their eyes, and how many different shades of brown there is. There's really a big variety of browns and different variations of colors in the browns. But it just gives you another appreciation for eyes and coloring them the right way. So I hope this helped everybody that asked me about how I do my eyes. If you have any questions, post them and I will try to answer them. Thank you.